A really close tussle between three riders. Dave Hiscock of New Zealand, who has 55 points. Robert Holden of New Zealand has 51 points. And Stu Avant of New Zealand has 48 points. You go back in the order then to Robbie Phillis on 45, Roger Freeth on 36, Norris Farrow on 24. And a very interesting series has developed. As we said in the second leg today of Formula One, it has been interesting that nobody has really hopped out from the start and dominated totally. And the points, as you can see, are still very, very close indeed. Dave Hiscock, Robert Holden, Stu Avant, did not finish a DNF in motor racing terms for any of them, would leave them out of the points and leave them out of the title overall. Dave Hiscock obviously is the favourite at this stage, with Robert Holden a close second, but I wonder, Graham Crosby, if Dave Hiscock is just going to hold on there as they start this final leg.
He can't afford to hold on, Tony.
Well, a second place is good enough, but that's not the way Dave Hiscock races.
No, I think Dave would be liking to finish this one off and top it off with a win.
Stu Avant leading into the second corner. Robbie Phillis behind him. Then Robert Holden. Dave Hiscock's out there in fifth place. Roger Freeth was up there too. And Norris Farrow. He had a spill in the second leg, remember. Still Avant, Phillis, Holden, Hiscock. So Dave Hiscock very, very quickly moves up there. Stuart Avant's taken a flyer right from the start. He's obviously decided the only way he can do it is to go out right from the start. Robbie Phillis on his tail. Robert Holden, Dave Hiscock, Roger Freeth. Stuart Avant, faster in a straight line than Robbie Phillis.
Stuart might be playing the rabbit this time. He was a little bit left behind in the previous races, but this time I think he's got the bit between his teeth, and he's got the bike to do it. He lacks a little bit on top end. Dave Hiscock has the advantage in that sense.
So I think this is where the race will be. The four out in front, Stu Avant, Robbie Phillis, Robert Holden up underneath Phillis, Dave Hiscock back in fourth. That's a good little battle going on between Phillis and Holden. Hiscock going round the outside, I think, of Robbie Phillis. We'll see in a moment. There's Stu Avant, there's Robert Holden up inside him. Hiscock up to third, so Hiscock went around Phillis. Phillis back to fourth now, and Hiscock moving up into second place to chase Stu Avant. Remember, in the second leg we had a great race between Dave Hiscock and Robert Holden. Hiscock now in front of Holden, Phillis fourth. Stu Avant still in that lead, but pretty tenuous. And Dave Hiscock is going to have a go at him very shortly. Only a 10-lap race, not a lot of time to play around.
Already these four have pulled out about 2 seconds on Roger Freeth.
Well, Stu Avant's going to have to ride aggressively to stay in front. He's really getting him wound up a little more now, I think, than he did in the previous two legs, Brad. It looks like he's going for it.
Well, it's the last race, and I think he feels that he may as well really go for it.
Avant first into the front straight. Hiscock second, Holden third, Robbie Phillis fourth, Roger Freeth back in fifth place, and Norris Farrow sixth, but they're all dropping back. Robbie Phillis getting left a little now.
Now that's depressing for somebody with a $30,000 Grand Prix machine to have a road bike engined motorcycle pass you down the straight.
So Hiscock takes 2.5 laps to get in front of Stuart Avant. Robert Holden still third. Holden wanting to challenge Avant. And Avant definitely wanting to get back on Dave Hiscock. But it seemed to be just in the straight line. There's Avant back to third, Holden in front of him. Seemed to be in a straight line that Hiscock got in front.
Hiscock's bike is very, very fast. I think Holden's bike is equally as fast, so I really can't understand it. I would think that, I would have thought that Avant's bike would have been a lot faster.
Straight line, remember that straight is somewhere between 150 and 160 miles an hour. Hiscock round underneath, much tighter line than Robert Holden. Stuart Avant still third, Robbie Phillis fourth. Dave Hiscock started off the series with a little bit of bad luck. He had carburetor problems, had it running on 3 cylinders at Wanganui, got it wound up by the end of the day, and in the final race at Wanganui just looked totally dominant. Robert Holden has been riding everything he can ride on half a dozen different bikes in the space of a day. He's got better as the series has gone. Avant won the first leg at Wanganui and then seemed to drop off after that. He came out very, very strong in the first leg here, but seemed to drop back after a couple of laps. Didn't seem to have enough horsepower in a straight line. And Robbie Phillis really was the man at Wanganui that looked like he was going to shut everybody up, but he faded toward the latter stages of the day as well.
Well, he had brake problems galore at Wanganui. Here, I think he's a little bit disadvantaged by not having a streamline.
Hiscock and Robert Holden once again. Hiscock knowing, I think, that he can keep Robert Holden out. Holden close enough to challenge, but is he close enough to pass? Avant still third, Robbie Phillis fourth, Roger Free fifth, and Norris Farrow. They're starting to, Robert Holden and Dave Hiscock are starting to drop off Avant just a little now.
It may be that these four strokes are getting better and better all the time. It just looks, both these bikes are operating really well. They look as if they're steering good, they're handling good. They're both in the hands of very capable riders.
Dave Hiscock certainly looks to have the best handling bike in the entire field. On the brakes and in the tricky bits of the circuit, he's not getting sideways at all.
Let's put the clock on Dave Hiscock and see what sort of times we can get on it.
Remember, we have already been under the lap record today substantially. The lap record before today was 53.36. We have already had 52.6, 52.7 officially, and a 52.5 unofficially. So they're well under the lap record. Dave Hiscock, of course, won't be too bothered about lap records. He doesn't care too much about that kind of thing. He cares about winning races, and he does it as slowly as he possibly can. Difficult to get the impression of speed from the camera angle you see in that front straight, but 160 miles an hour is very fast. Still a good little race there with Dave Hiscock and Robert Holden. Avant's dropped back just a little in third place now, not really in the same battle up front.
Well, they're doing around the 52.8 second lap. That was including a couple of back markers, so possibly they would have posted a slightly faster time earlier on.
We were just talking about how well Dave Hiscock's bike was handling. I don't know if you just missed that little piece, Graham. Dave Hiscock got on the anchors very, very harshly there, and the bike got all sideways and very, very twitchy. So when it's really ridden hard, it obviously shows up the same reaction to this rather bumpy circuit that some of the lesser bikes do. But when ridden within the capabilities, it just looks superbly smooth. Different lines often, but Holden the only one really able to stay in touch at this stage. Avant has dropped back a good 100 metres now, third place. Looking back for Avant there, going past, that's interesting, Hiscock and Robert Holden going past Peter Benson on a TZ 750 Yamaha that a few years ago was one of the fastest bikes in the world.
Well, I think it still is a very, very quick motorcycle, but unfortunately it's a very old motorcycle now, and Peter Benson, although he rides it really, really well, I'm afraid these bikes nowadays are just far superior.
So on the final lap this time, and Dave Hiscock looking to have the race and the series under control. Robert Holden still hounding his back wheel, but Dave Hiscock not flinching one iota. Riding seemingly within himself. Again, getting a little bumpy under harsh brakes. Around Robert Holden. Another rider between them. Holden has got through. No, he's back in. Dave Hiscock back in charge. Robert Holden just momentarily seemed to get through there. Little puff of smoke coming out of Holden's exhaust pipes, but Dave Hiscock races up the start-finish line in the sprint down the line. Robert Holden behind him, and Dave Hiscock wins the Formula One International Series. From Robert Holden, Avant will be third. The order that they finished this race in is the way they finished the series. Dave Hiscock once again seeming to ride well within himself, Graham Crosby, and doing it so smoothly.
Dave's always been a good rider, and this time he's just proven it. You know, he rides consistently well.